Hello all. So this had been great series, I guess, till now. And thank you for all your love and support. Today we'll be talking about related records in Business Central emails. If you haven't heard the word, for me, it seems a pretty useful feature that's being added into the emailing part of Business Central. So we'll try to understand what that is and how we can include that into the custom email scenario that we are building so that your customer also gets a consistent view of the feature and they don't see a difference when they're using your custom email process versus Microsoft emailing process. So as I say all the time, this channel is fed based on your feedbacks and comments. So make sure to have all your questions, feedback about all these videos that are available in this channel as comments to this video. If you have any questions till now or going forward in this series, make sure to add them into comments. I religiously read all your comments, either they are good or bad, and I try to be better with those comments. So without wasting further time, let's understand what are related records and how we can incorporate them into our custom email process. So before we get into technical part of it, which we will go for sure, let's see our example that we are utilizing in the purchase order scenario, and let's pick a particular a purchase document. And right now, let's try to use the Microsoft emailing process. So when we hit send and then we choose email from Microsoft emailing process, the code is executed, the body is generated, the attachment is made based on the settings that we have also done. But there's one more cool feature that's available which allows you to use Word template which are assigned to some related record to this particular entity. So in this case we are on we are on purchase header or purchase order. So it understands that the related entity is also a vendor, and in this case is also a purchase line, and that all you can see here by going into help and support and then inspect page and data. So you'll notice that there are filters applied on these pages which are looking for two table IDs. One is 23, which is for vendor, and another one is 38, which is looking for purchase header. And that's how this shows you the selected Word template. If you have to navigate to the source document, you can do it here, and it'll again show you the related records to this particular entity, which is the vendor 1000 and purchase order number. And not just that, you can also, while you are navigating on your email messages, you can also add files from source document, and that feature also filters out based on your the same table filter that we saw, which it is not showing, but behind the scene there are filters applied which are not visible on the screen for table ID which are related to this particular record. And let's see what else. Add file from Word template, that also works in the same way as we saw. Now this is a nice feature, as you can see, but how we can incorporate that into our email is our question. So let's go back and see, as we haven't incorporated anything like that yet, how our email look like. So when I do a purchase order email, and I can choose either the email item or email message view. Once I navigate to that screen, if you notice that the Word template is disabled, so source document is disabled, and I cannot add anything because there are no linked email source entities. So hopefully that kind of makes sense what we are going to talk about and how your customers will be able to utilize if you bake this feature into your custom email. So let's go a little bit technical into it and let's see how or where this data is stored. So let me open my VS Code and let's zoom this in. Okay, so let's check on the base app or the system app, wherever it is. called related. So I'm just searching for objects where there is a related word in the name, and you see that there are email related record, which will list down which records are related to this particular email related attachments, word template related table, and word template related buffer. I guess we are just looking for these three. So when you look at this table, at the end of the day, if we insert data into this table, that should solve our purpose. What this table needs? It's need the message ID, which we'll have, a table ID, which we can write, system ID, maybe the unique identifier of the record that you're pointing to, and the relation type, which is a NM, which have two options. Is this a primary source or a related entity? Primary source is the primary source of the email. In case of purchase order, your purchase header becomes a primary source, and then any other entity that you can attach to purchase order is then becomes a related entity. So okay, let's go ahead and add data into it. But remember that there's a property at the table level which is called access. This table, in this case, is marked as access internal, which means that this table will only be available to this to the code that is written in the similar extension, which is the system application, or the app where this app allows it to access these objects. And that's a separate topic altogether. If you want me to talk about it, again, your best place to suggest topics is also comments. So do add that in comment, as in how access plays a key role. So in summary, for this video, let's understand that you and we cannot insert record directly into this table. So then how Microsoft is doing is important. And as you have seen in the previous video, I tried to keep as close to as Microsoft approach. So let's again go to report selection, because somewhere Microsoft will be doing that. Okay. So let's search for how we should search for it. Okay. Let's search for save report as HTML, which is here. Somewhere here, this is this. Let's see, there are no calls to this. So somewhere once this is done, it should be doing that. Okay. Let me search for this. Okay, nothing here. Okay. This is print document. Okay. Let's see. Email file. Yes. So if you look at this area of the code, in this area, it is saying that I'll give you the source table ID, source ID, and relation type, which are being set here. Okay. So if we are here. So in case of email item, the what Microsoft is doing here is based on the record that they are in. They are filling up these three buffers. Okay, three table or three variables more or less, as you can see here also. And then these variables are kind of passed to this method of email file. So let's go there and see what Microsoft is doing with these variables, which is source relation type, source ID, and source tables. So it seems that in the temp email item, there's a method called set source document. So if we just call that method, we'll be able to attach my related entity based on it. So let's try, we'll give it a try how it need to be done. When you look at it, there are three list of integer that you need to pass. One is the source table, one is the source ID, and one is the relation types, which is a list of integer again. Okay, so without wasting further time, let's get into our code. And okay, this is where we are sending for email item. And let me check one more thing, what it is based on. This is based on, okay, they just need to be added on to the temp email item variable. Okay, So what I'll do is once the attachment is added, I'll also add a method to add related tables. So let's add a method, add related tables, and I need to at least pass it the temp email item so that I can do it there. And I'll also need the purchase header for sure. So let's add that. Okay. Now this method then will do what we need. So let's define that method. Here we are, where we have this as temp. Nice. So what we need to do is we will have to create 3 lists as Microsoft has created. So we'll just take that reference more or less. Source IDs, source tables, and source relation type, which are the 3 variables here. Okay, so let's just copy them as it is. Not to be creative if the code is already there. And let's place them here and then just split them one by one. So these are the 3 lists of integer, 2 lists of integers and 1 list of given. So now our parent record, if you remember that entity relation that we were talking about, there is a actual record, or what we call that. Let me see what Microsoft calls it. Okay, they're just setting it up. Okay, and we'll see that. I guess that's not a problem. We'll find that out. So let's first add the purchase header into it, and the way you do it is as simple as we saw, as add source document. Yes, source document. In this I need to pass the okay, the in oh, I need to fill these arrays. So the source table in my case, when I'm going to add purchase header into it, is the purchase header table, right? So I'm going to add the purchase header table here, and to add tables I need to do a database dot purchase header. Okay, that's it. That's first one. Now we are talking about the source IDs, which is a list of GUIDs. Here you need to pass the record GUID that you are trying to refer to. So in our case, it's purchase header dot system IDs. That gives me the GUID of the actual record. Last but not least is the source relation type, and I need to pass it as, and the enum that I'm looking for is my enum, which is email relation type, and the option that I want is primary source, because the email is built based on this particular table, right? And because this is a list of integer, I'll have to convert this as integer. Okay, now if I have to add vendor, what I need to do is I'll also define here a vendor table record reference, and in the beginning of it I'll get the vendor record dot get purchase header dot buy from vendor number. Once we have it, what I can do is I can just copy this pool as it is and paste it here, and instead of purchase header, this time I'll replace it with my vendor table, the system ID of the vendor, and this will not be my primary source. This will be my related entity as integer. Now this is what Microsoft is doing, but from a demo perspective, if you have to add more into it, let's say purchase line record purchase line. Okay, what do you need to do? Again, you need to do a, but then there are multiple purchase lines, so you can't actually find one because you'll need the ID. So maybe purchase line is not the right approach to do this. Anything else that you can think of? Okay, let's look at purchase header, and I would surely like to add one more entity to kind of show you how this works. Okay, let's see. Maybe location code, because on the header level there will be one location. Yes, that will differ from the line level, but just for the demo purpose, I would also like to add the location record into it. Okay, and the code remains same. You can just add that pool here, and this time you'll call it as location dot system id, and it'll be a related entity. Once you have filled all your primary source and related entity, you just need to call this method of set source document, which needs three variables. First is your source tables list, then your source IDs list, and then last but not least is your source relation type list. Okay, what is this? Add source document. Not add, I guess. Let me see. Let me comment this out. I'm not an expert in this. I'm also looking at it. Source. Oh, that is set source document, not add. Set source document, and then I can just keep it as it is. Okay. With this, I'll be able to add these entities into my email, and that's how I'll know that my email have these related entities altogether. And then I can use all these features which are available based on the related entities. Hopefully that makes sense. Now we have done that, and we have also added it into the temp email item, which is passed as reference. So there's no problems in it, right? But what if we also have to do it in our new style, which is a little bit different in my with email item. Now email item, when you look at it, does not have a reference, not this, sorry, this one. Email message. Email message have no such method. It's create, 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 get body, set body, append to body, get subject, and so on and so forth. But there's nothing to add source or relation entity. That's it. So then how we achieve this is that, if you remember, at the end we are sending email via email code unit. Let's navigate to that. Okay, email code unit. So let's navigate to that, and let's try to see that is there a relation word into it. Oh, there seems to be. It says add a relation between an email message and a record. And what it needs is it needs an email message, a table ID, a system ID, and a relational type. More or less same, but in this case, we don't need to define the list of text. You'll have to do for each entity one by one. Okay, so let's test it out and let's set this up. So we'll also create, or I'll just copy this method as it is for the time being. Okay, and we'll have to change some variables because we need different things here. So I'll remove this and I'll add whatever is needed from this code unit. Okay, the first one that we need, if I'm not wrong, is my email, because that's where it'll get attached. Okay, so this becomes my var, because this will get modified here. So I'll just define this as var. And will I be able to just do with this? Let's think about it. Maybe. Let's give it a try. Okay, so I don't need these list, so I'll just remove these. And when I have to add the related record into email, what I have to do is call that method, which is email dot add relation. Now how you add relation is, the first parameter that you need is your email message. Oh, so I also need email message code unit here. So let's copy this also, and I'll just paste it here. Okay. Let me make this smaller so that we all can read it. Email and then a colon. Okay. So the first thing that it needs is a, what is that? Email message code unit reference, which is this. So then the email message will get attached, or the related record will get attached to it. The second one that we need is the table ID, which in our case is this. So let's copy this and paste it here. This is just the code that we copied from there. I'm just keeping it for a while. The third parameter is argued, which is here. So let's add that also. Okay. Our next is, we have done the code unit, we have done the integer and the GUID, and now the enum email relation type, which we have here. So I'll just copy that as it is again and paste it in here. Okay. It seems there are some errors, so I'll just comment this piece because we may need its reference if needed. Okay, and I'll just close the loop here for multi-line comment, and once I save it, it will show me if everything looks good. And why it's saying that it is only getting one. Okay, let's wait for this to compile. But on the similar line, what we'll also have to do is add for vendor, right? So let's do that. And I just found out that I did a mistake on the previous function when we were calling this. So we'll deal with that in a while, and I'll change it both the places if I remember it correctly. Once we have the vendor, what I can do is I can just copy this, again paste it, and this time my entity becomes location, my location dot system ID, and it becomes my related entity. Okay, first thing first, why there is a warning. It says, oh, it does not need to convert it as integer. So let me remove that because I'm just copying from there. I just thought that will work. And if I have to add the vendor, which I haven't added yet, so I'll just have to paste it here, and we'll attach the vendor related entity. Okay, so that should do the magic. But when you look at it, there is one error it seems, and it says add relation is marked for removal, and you should be using the another with origin tag. Okay, so let's have a look how the origin will look like, because Microsoft will also be using it, and it says enum email relation origin as compose context, and we'll see what other values are here attached to this. So we'll change it here, paste it here, same change it here, and same change it here. But let's see what are the other values other than compose origin on it. The other one is email address lookup. So if you're doing this related entities based for email lookup, for who would be the receiving email person that will receive the email, then you can also use this, but that time you'll use the email address lookup. Right now I'm composing an email, so it's a compose context. Okay, so this part is also done, and I was talking about the mistake that I did on this, which is I did not get the location. I need to get the location, not ship to code, to location code. Okay, let me copy that and also paste it in our other method here, so that both works in the same way. Once you have done that, we'll also have to call this method somewhere. So let's do that calling somewhere here. Okay, the first thing that it need is an email. Then it needs, and I'll have to go to the second implementation, the email message. So let's pass that email message. Okay, the third one is the purchase header record. Okay, so let's pass that in. And the last but not least is add related record, is just that, right? Email code unit, email message code unit, and the record. So we need to pass these three, and based on this, this method will be called, which then will add all these related record into it. So hopefully this works, and we all will be able to see this while we deploy this extension in our environment. So remember earlier, as we talked about and as we have seen, that until unless you define these related entities, you cannot get details from other related entities while working on an email. And sometimes it's very important, like if you want to get an attachment which is attached to the vendor card, I will be able to use it as a user if my developer have kept in mind that they need to add the related entities. So in the same way, for your custom solution, if you have custom relationship, you can utilize those entities also in the related entity. And it's as simple as we did in this meeting, as in there's nothing that I have prepared for, we were just talking about it. So it is not that hard, it can be easily done. You need to identify what tables will be those, you need to get that record, get the system ID, and then based on whatever method of emailing you're using, you can just plug in the two code segment, which also will be available in GitHub. Okay, so don't worry, you don't have to pay attention to the code more or less, pay attention to the functionality more or less. So at this point, I'm using it for the order number 106004, and let's use our action to purchase order email, and we'll use, let's say, email items first. We'll test the other one also. We'll choose the word body layout. Once we are done, our basic email will be set, but this time if everything is going correct, okay, there's a catch in it, that there's no location into it, so we'll have to tweak our code a little bit. Okay, and before we do that, let me add this code here. If my location dot get, then and only then add the relationship, otherwise there is no point, right? The same logic goes here. Okay, if then begin, because there are multiple things that are happening in this particular scenario of email items, so keep that in mind. And let's remove it from here. So now if location is found, then and only then the relation of that location will be added into your email. If the location is blank, the user will not be able to see what kind of relate in that related record table location as an option. And that seems fair, as in if you don't have the required data that's needed to kind of punch that entity into the related record, it doesn't make sense to forcefully add any entries. Now the related entity help you in multiple ways. If you want to get your email body from a Word template that you have built or your customers have built using mail merge, it can just do that. Okay, it also helps you to pick attachments which are available in these different related entities and just make them part of your email. And it also allows you to navigate to the source document from the email screen directly. So let's first use the old one, and you can choose any one as we have talked in the past. Once you have clicked on it, it should run the email body, it should generate the email attachment, and then it should also make sure that our new buttons are enabled now, as in not our new buttons, but Microsoft buttons are enabled, because now there is a relational entity. So if you now look at help and support and inspect the page, you will notice that this page of apply world template also have a filter applied of table 23 and 38, because in this case also there was no location. If the purchase order had location, it also did that. I can also navigate to my source document, which is very straightforward, using the vendor and the purchase header in this case. And same in the same way, I can add file from Word document based on my related entity. Now, before we test out the other one, I would actually like to test out the other one where there is a location, so that we understand how the location entity is working. Okay, or let me just define the location if this is open. Where is my location code? Okay, let me pick. I guess I had one with the location, if I remember it correctly. Okay, I don't see it here. I don't see it here, and I neither see it here. But somewhere that should have a location for sure. Okay, currency, VAT, payment method, department, and I saw it. I know. Yeah, I did saw that. That's what I'm saying. So let me just check or navigate those records. Should be in shipping and payment somehow, but I don't see that code. Okay, maybe on the fourth one that we were trying earlier, there's a location detail into it. I don't see that again, and maybe I can't pay attention to it at this point of time. But I know that there's a location, obviously, right? So let's have a look. Help and support. Let's inspect page and data. And in this case, I'm looking for location code. There is a location code which is set to blank. Okay, on this one also. And on this one also, yellow. Now this have a location called yellow. So now if I go ahead and click on that button, we have tried the old one. Let's try the new way. Okay, Word email body layout. Everything should, the email should look like similar. There should not be any problems at that moment. But when I come here on Word template, you'll notice that my filters are a little bit different. What are my filters? 14, which is location, 23 and 38. So based on your custom code that you have defined the relationship between your different entities, it will be able to help their users to kind of keep a consistent approach of how they deal or work with emailing in Business Center. Now, before I let you go, as we always do, let's do a quick recap of what we have learned today. Related entities are important because they allow users to pick different things like attachments, like replacing the email body with the Word template, which are being developed by customers using the mail merge feature, which is also available in VC. And actually, there is a video about it. So if you go and I'll put that into the pinned comment if you are interested in that. It's pretty simple based on which style of coding you're doing. If you're using the temp email item, then you need to define these three lists of text. And if you don't know about list of different variables, just add a comment. I'll make sure that I record a video around it. And then once you pull in all these details, you just call the set source document, which then adds all these related entity into the internal table that's available. If you're using the new email message style, then it's very simple. It's one line of code which starts from email add relation, where you pass the email message that you have to attach it to, the table ID, the record ID, and what kind of relation it is, and then what kind of context it is. So using this functionality, the users will get the same look and feel of your custom solution versus Microsoft solution at this point. So that was all for today. And you know the drill. If you like the content, if you learn something new, do hit the like button and share this. Share this with your colleagues. I started learning things when I started sharing with other people. And that's what I'm doing currently, right? So don't hesitate in sharing the content and having it available to a larger, bigger set of audience. It'll be a great community if we all are great developers. So if you're learning something new which can help rest of the community, don't hesitate to share that info. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, it's a personal request. If you want to, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us to understand how we are doing. And please, please, please add comments to these videos, because the only reason why I keep publishing these videos is because there are comments and because you tell me what I need to learn and record. So thank you for that. Thank you for all your comments till now, but keep them coming. Till the point you guys will keep them coming, I'll keep on recording. The day you guys stop supporting me, I'm no one. So it's your channel. Whatever you would like to see, just add it into the comments. There might be some things where I'll be a little bit late because I don't know anything about it. But if I know about it, I'll make sure that gets recorded as soon as possible. So we are about to finalize this series because this is more or less that we wanted to cover in this series. If there are any questions that I can cover in the last video, which is Q&A, just add them. I'll take a day or two break to see what kind of comments I'm getting so that I can finalize the Q&A video. If there's nothing else, I'll go back and check. And we'll complete the series and we'll start thinking about what next we want to talk about. So have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.